Okay, guys, so this last weekend I went to an event in Oklahoma, a place where a lot of ex Amish or ex Mennonite people wouldn't be comfortable going depending on where you're from for fear of, judgment and not knowing how people are going to treat you. But I have a story to tell you and I want you to pay attention. So, this was like a big Amish event. So, it was called the Clarita Amish Auction, and every year they do this and thousands of people come out, and it's hosted by the Amish. They sell things at the auction. They raise money for their school. And so I went there as a vendor. Now, get this. Like, here's kind of like the premise of this. This is an Amish place, right? They're having an Amish auction. A whole bunch of non-Amish people come in there as vendors, and some Amish people are there as vendors as well, selling stuff. And so I'm going there with my book, Amish Renegade, to sell at an Amish event. I know what it looks like. And I had people, before I even went to the event, I had people message me and they're like, "You're going to an Amish event to sell your Amish book called Amish Renegade on how to leave the Amish?" And my first thing response to that was, "That's not actually what I'm doing." And if you read my book, Amish Renegade, you will know that I don't tell people in the book, you have to leave. Like, that's never my message. And so I was like, yeah, heck yeah, I'm going. And the Amish people, typically they love me once they get to know me, but I also understand like what it looks like and why you're thinking the way that you are. So I go, and it was a blast. Now, here's what I want you to pay attention to. So I get there, and we set up, and within the first 30 minutes, I had someone come up, and she was not Amish anymore. She came from the Amish, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I went to the booth to find out where you're at because I knew you were gonna be here. I needed to come find you." So that was cool, and and it was really fun to experience like fans that came up and stuff. But here's the thing. So we have the booth set up, and this Amish lady comes up and she starts talking to me in different order, old order. And she wanted to, so I had my dress there on a mannequin and it was all pinned on and stuff. And so she starts asking me questions. We had this long conversation. A friend of hers who's Mennonite, left the Amish, is Mennonite now. She comes up and we all start having a conversation. And we had a pretty lengthy conversation. Within an hour of me being there, I had other Amish people that came down hunting for my booth because they found out that I was there and they wanted to come meet me and talk to me. And um, if you don't know this, like news and gossip in Amish country spreads faster than wildfire. And I was like, oh boy, it's happening. So anyway, that was really cool. I met some really, really cool people. But get this. So about halfway through the event, this lady that I initially talked to, the Amish lady, her and her husband were there with a booth, and I could see them, and I knew what they were selling. Um, the husband walks down to my booth where I was at selling my book, and he just walks up and he goes, "I need to apologize to you." And I was like taken back, and I was like, "Why?" Like, I don't know what you did. And he goes, "I misjudged you." I was like, "Oh, okay, let's talk. Like, what's this about?" And he said, "I saw you this morning. I saw you set up, and I saw your stuff, and I thought that you were just some city girl that is coming in here, and you're wanting to sell Amish stuff because people around here don't dress the way that you're dressed." I just start laughing. And I was like, we had a long conversation. He's like, I just wanted to come by and apologize because my wife talked to you this morning and she told me all about you, and I think you're amazing. And he ends up buying my book. And when we left the event, we were leaving as they were leaving, and Katia, who was with me, we like all waved, and I was like, man, I feel like we're friends now, and that's what it feels like. And so I just something that like really stood out to me there is how quickly he was to come and correct what he thought was something before he even knew me, and how easy it is to judge someone based on what they look like when you know zip about them, until you go and actually talk to that person and you find out, oh, I'm not actually bashing the Amish. I don't talk bad about the Amish in my book. I have conversations with them. In fact, I have fun with them. One of my all-time favorite things to do at the event was when Amish people came by and they like kind of like looked around. I had other Amish people come up. I had almost as many Amish people buy my book as non-Amish people. And it was really fun, but my favorite thing to do was when they come up to my booth and they start talking, I would be like, "Ik kan ook Dutch," which means I can also speak Pennsylvania Dutch, and then their faces are like, "What?" It was an icebreaker. It was so much fun. So, and then of course, the other funny part was that we saw there was an older Amish couple that like walked by, and they wouldn't look at us. They kind of like looked at the banners, but I could hear them speaking in Pennsylvania Dutch. And the guy asked the wife like what we were doing there, and in Pennsylvania Dutch she said back to him, "Oh, they're just here like selling Amish books about the Amish." But they knew nothing about us. Like, they didn't come ask. They didn't, like, nothing. And that is the difference between assuming, like making assumptions about something or someone before you actually get to know them. So it really touched my heart, and I think that there's a lesson in all of that. Mwah.